I mean, if you have an electric car and you live in an apartment, well, you're going to run the extension cord down from your fourth floor window.
It's not going to tow your trailer. It's not going to tow your boat. What Australians have always expressed a preference for is the vehicles that have a bit of grunt, have a bit of power.
And we are going to save their utes.
The Coalition's rhetoric about Labor's electric vehicle policies was one of the more outlandish features of the 2019 election campaign. But today, surrounded by 3 Liberal MPs from seats in Melbourne which are now considered under threat, the Prime Minister changed his tune, while insisting he hadn't.
How can you honestly spruik electric vehicles when you campaigned against them in the last election?
But I didn't. That is just a Labor lie. I was against Bill Shorten's mandate policy, trying to tell people what to do with their lives.
The reality of Labor's electric vehicle policy was never one which would have forced people to buy particular cars. It included a target for a certain proportion of the national car fleet to be electric by 2030, 50% of all new car sales. There would be money for research and development to make them cheaper, and a generous depreciation rate for business vehicles. Today, the PM announced funding for EV charging points, saying the government was not going to use taxes or subsidies to produce a change in the car fleet.
We don't want to drive those costs down by writing off big cheques to multinational companies. That's not the way you do this.
This was a bit unfortunate, given the press conference was held at the Toyota Hydrogen Centre, which has received $3 million in government funding. The actual details of just how the government will spend the $250 million total commitment announced today remain a little unclear. There is money to ensure there are lots of charging stations, though we don't know where they will be yet, and money to encourage business fleets to switch, as well as money to help the electricity network deal with more cars being plugged into it. All these measures ultimately involve government support or subsidies of some sort, but the government is most insistent that this is not the case. A forecast shift to electric vehicles is a major, if unspoken, part of the government's forecast that Australia can reach net zero emissions by 2050, accounting for about 15% of the emissions cut outlined in its plan a couple of weeks ago. But critics say the policy goes nowhere near enough. In particular, it has not embraced tougher emissions standards, which operate almost everywhere else in the world, to make electric vehicles more cost competitive.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.